Welcome to another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P. Bush. How you guys doing?
Doing all right, man. 2 more weeks until we're at that Scott Hansen red zone time.
That's the best thing, man.
Absolutely. I'm pumped
Man,
as hell for that. So
man,
we got it right around the corner.
I found Scott Hansen on Twitter, man. Every Sunday, man, he's like, man, I go another 2 weeks away, man. I keep waiting, man. I love that man. And when that guy's voice and football pops up, man, it's a beautiful Sunday, man. 1 o'clock, man, it's quite beautiful. I am so excited for football to be back, especially this season, man. Every year, man, it's wide open, man. Every year. It is wide open.
The NFL is definitely back. Like you say, we've been having a bunch of preseason games. People have been overreacting, looking at a bunch of tape. We've had a bunch of camp fights, and I think a lot of that is just because teams are ready to get on the field. So thank God for that. Shout out to Scott Hansen and all the football that he's going to be providing. But we're going to get into some predictions. You know, it's pretty much prediction season in the whole month of August. So right now, we're going to get into some of the NFL awards and see how they stack up. You know, we got the Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and the MVP. So I wanted to ask the guys, where are they trending towards? Do they have a few names? Are they going to pick a particular one? We're going to start with the MVP. And P. Bush, I'm going to start with you.
It's tough, man. I'm personally pulling for Herbert to get the MVP this year, man. I think he does have a legit shot, but he's my dynasty quarterback in fantasy. So hoping that he has a good one, but I do think that the front runner, man, and the guy is due up is Josh Allen, man. I know he's kind of the favorite at this point. A lot of hype. You know, obviously we've talked about this a couple times, but the reliance on just Stephon Diggs could become a problem this year. I actually forgot that they added Jamison Crowder. I know Zoo's not a fan, but he was on the Jets when you weren't a fan, and now he's with Josh Allen. So he might be a solid little, John Brown type option for Josh Allen. But I think the biggest thing that they did for him, and any quarterback will tell you, if you have a good running game, it's only going to help you. And especially with a running quarterback, if you have James Cook in that backfield and he really grows this year and takes over from Singletary, right, and kind of just leads that backfield and makes that offense even more prolific, it's only going to help Josh. You know, that tandem in the RPO could be ridiculous. I think he's going to have, over 700 yards rushing this year. Handful of rushing touchdowns, and he's going to be bombing it as well. So I know he's the favorite, kind of the easy choice. I'd still like to see Herbert. I think Herbert could be the biggest sneak play against Josh Allen, like if you are looking to get some value in betting on this as a future. But if you're looking to make some sure money, Josh Allen's your best bet at this point.
Interesting, man. You went for a big running quarterback, man. You pick the big dude. I'm picking a smaller version of Josh Allen, a.k.a. Russell Wilson, baby.
Really?
Yes, I'm picking Russell Wilson, man. Russell Wilson, man. It's going to be tough because the division's going to be tough, man. But I feel like if he gets away with 10, 11 wins this year, voters be like, the only significant change they made this year was the quarterback position, and they're going to see an increase in wins, and that's going to just straight up show value right there, man. You're going to see Cortland Sutton have a career year. You're going to see Jerry Jeudy have a career year. You're going to see his impact on the offense, that it goes from unwatchable to must-see TV. So the impact on offense with the leadership ability of Russell Wilson, man, even in a tough division, that division is tough. But 7 wins last year. This year, I can see the Denver Broncos winning 11 games this year, 10, 11 wins, and I think that gets it done in the tough division with a direct impact at quarterback position, man. Russell Wilson and his impact on the receivers, man, I think there's money in the bank for Russell to win it this year. This guy has never won MVP. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of our generation. I feel like last year, terrible season. You know what I say, man, regression to the mean, baby. Off season, high season. Got to balance that out, and you can't do any better than winning the MVP, man. So I got to see this brother throwing for 40 touchdowns this year, man. Single-digit interceptions. He's going to have a career season with these weapons that he demanded a trade out of, man. He wanted out of Seattle. He got what he wanted, and I think he's going to maximize it with the talent around him, especially the young offensive weapons, man. Javonte Williams, man, Cortland Sutton, Jeudy, man. It's a young core that he has around him. And I feel like with his leadership abilities, man, galvanize the team and gonna let it fly, man. Let it ride, Russell Wilson, man. Let it ride with the Broncos, baby. I'm all about the Russell Wilson hype train this year, man. That is my pick for MVP.
It's possible he's the third best quarterback in that division, though.
That is true.
Very possible.
And Derek, I'm not saying Derek Carr's a god, but if he has an unbelievable season, he could be the best MVP with Devontae. So I don't know, Zoo.
Division. I think out of that division, Derek Carr would definitely have the best value. Yes, I don't know what his odds are, but if Devontae really does translate, whatever, that could be a sneaky play. But I'm staying in that same division, even though I am on the Herbert train. Like, I am a big Justin Herbert fan just because I think he has just got all the tools and he's got the weapons, and I like their defense. So they just kind of, have everything going. But I just feel like that was too more of an obvious pick. But I think I'm gonna go with Mahomes, man. I think Mahomes has a chance to become a I don't want to say this is a prove it year because he's been good every year he's been a starter. But I think with Tyreek being out and a lot of people saying he was dependent on Tyreek and he was just a big, just chuck it up to Tyreek and he's the guy that can make a play down the field. I think if he brings along Juju, because Juju, we all know, is a solid receiver. I wouldn't say he was a great receiver, but he's a solid receiver. And if he really brings along Sky Moore, I think with that division and the games that they're going to be playing, there's going to be a lot of primetime games. Like every game is going to be a big game in that division. So, a lot of people, they're trending towards Denver picking them to win the division or maybe even Oakland because it's something new. But it's like Mahomes has won a division and he's won a championship. So, he's going to have a lot of fire. We know he's going to depend on Kelsey. Kelsey's going to have another crazy, basically a receiver year at tight end. So I think, with him, Mahomes having, I think, a little bit of fire in him, he might come out and just be like, look, kind of, like how Aaron Rodgers has done, even though he had Devontae, like Aaron Rodgers just plays well because whoever's playing around him, because he's just such a great quarterback. And I think Mahomes right now has a whole better skill set than Aaron Rodgers. So I think he could actually push the Kansas City Chiefs into being like that team. And obviously they would have to win the division, I feel like, for him to be in that MVP discussion. But that, like the Tyreek factor of him being gone, people counting him out. Andy Reid always puts his quarterbacks in great positions. And I believe in the talent. He's going to have a lot of, I feel like, what are those games on Sunday night on NBC? They always, those type of games. I feel like he's going to have a lot of those games to prove you're on national TV. If you play well, that's going to put a lot of voters and be like, I wonder if we could choose Mahomes as a guy that could be, I guess, what is it? It'd be a second MVP. I think that could be a possibility. That to me, in that division, when I was going through it, it just seems like every quarterback outside of maybe Derek can win the MVP, which is just insane to me. So it's like, and I wouldn't say
Derek's
a crazy
long shot.
It's not crazy. Like I would pick Derek over a lot of other guys to win the MVP if we're looking at other divisions. But I like Mahomes, man. I think Mahomes' talent is there, and like I think the narrative will be there. Like he's got Juju playing better. He's got Sky Moore, the rookie receiver, playing better. Like I think that might be a narrative that might be because he has. I think out of that division, you could argue he has the least amount of weapons. You could argue it out of that division.
Yeah.
You
could probably put up the Chargers against the Chiefs.
Because the Chargers have the two elite receivers.
Yeah, they got two
good receivers.
Austin Eckler.
Like the Raiders have Renfro, Adams, Waller. Like they got so you could argue like he has the fourth option.
Finally,
you could. Oh yeah, you could.
I think this is the prove it year though. I know what you mean, Sean, because he's been there. We know what he can do.
Yeah,
but you just took out their best weapon. And yeah, you could say Travis Kelce's their best weapon, but you want to talk about a game changer? That's Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, one play, man. Takes one throw.
And I don't think you can knack out it, but a lot of Mahomes' crazy throws across the field was him lobbing it up and Tyreek having the wherewithal to run back to the ball because he just outruns everything, right? And then he has to come back to it. And that's how they get a chunk yardage. I think they're going to have to switch some things up, but I think Mahomes, this could be a year to actually bet on him for the MVP because he might be 4th or 5th at this point in the preseason.
Yeah, I didn't even look at the
after Josh Allen, but yeah, man. I mean, it's tough for MVP. I think
it's crazy. All voters are pretty much in that realm of that division, though. Like,
and all in the AFC.
Yeah.
AFC. Yeah. Tom Brady is the only. You never know, man. I'd never count out Tom Brady to win the MVP. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not big on the Bucks, but I guess switching to defensive player of the year. What's some of you guys' choices?
Going with the Dallas Cowboys star, man. The rookie last year, man. Man, that one NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, Mr. Parsons, man. This dude, has unanimously winning. Like, he was by far the best defensive player as a rookie. I love betting on young players, young talent, man. The body's not brittle, man. This guy's a young bull, man. This Dallas Cowboys defense, they're going to need it, man. With the Cowboys offense pretty much getting depleted. Like, they lost a lot of weapons this year, so I feel like they're going to have to rely on the defense even more to carry them. Running game attack and defense, man. That's how they're going to get it done. And obviously, prime time, man. The Dallas Cowboys are probably the most popular team in the NFL. So when you're great in Dallas, it gets emphasized even more. So him winning defensive rookie of the year last year. This year, man, I think he could legitimately win defensive player of the year because I thought last year he could have won. And I just feel like he was a rookie. They're like, okay, we'll give him this award. But I feel like this year he could win it legitimately because as a first-year player, I haven't seen a guy that good in quite a while, man. Like unanimously, man, like 13 sacks. Jesus Christ.
The Cowboys didn't want to pay double incentives on him last year. So if he had won Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. But that's a good pick. I like that. I think he has the most upside. He's probably pretty high up there in the odds if I were to guess. I doubt he's the favorite, but I do think Nick Bosa is going to take it, man. Niners edge rusher coming off a 15.5 sack season, immediately off an ACL, and this man puts up nearly 16 sacks in a season, not playing the entire year. I think another year under the belt, post injury, post the ACL, it's only going to help him. This guy could be pushing 20 sacks, which not many guys were pushing last year. I think Robert Quinn might have been up there. Aaron Donald's always a safe bet, but I just think the Niners with Trey Lance kind of leading, they're going to put a lot of pressure on that defense just with getting the kinks out of Trey Lance, maybe trying to just give him good field position, right? I think they're going to try and throw a lot of things at various offenses in the NFC and their AFC opponents. So I think Nick Bosa is the leader on that defense, and I think he's going to take it home this year. But Micah Parsons is a good pick, though. I like that one. That's a good value.
I think he's very trendy because he was a monster last year, and it was only because he was a rookie that they did. Yep. The NFL probably has a bunch of, you got to bide your time. You got to have your service in the league to be getting chosen for these awards. But if he was being honest, Micah Parsons was probably the defensive player of the year. He was just so versatile, which I don't think a lot of people before the draft saw coming. Nick Bosa is a really good pick because he also has the pedigree. His brother, they're just both really good players. So it's like
they got the names,
man. They got some good genetics.
Yeah, their defensive genes and all that. It's just predictable. So I really like that pick. I think I'm gonna go with a guy, Myles Garrett. I think Myles has been sneakily because he was a number one pick. So it's like when you're like this year, Trevon Walker, he was a number one pick, and we'll see how his story ends up being. But it's kind of like we feel like we kind of just look on the back burner with defensive guys. But I think because of what the Browns situation is, if they could just somehow stay in the hunt, and that's asking a lot, which is like Brissett to be good for the first 10 games, that's asking a lot. But if they could just be in that mediocre and not tank, I think Myles Garrett in that defense is going to have to do a lot of saving for that team, and that means Myles Garrett's probably going to have a lot of opportunities to come and sack the quarterback and be somebody who's going to have to be impactful. I think last year he finished third in sacks, so he's kind of always been on that cusp of being the sack leader and being someone who could make an impact. So I kind of like him as an odds. I just think it's all going to be tied to how the Browns end up playing, and if you're going to put if you're going to put any money down on the Browns being, I guess, over 500 with 10 games ago, you're not going to make a lot of money because it's probably going to be a tough sledding for them. Another guy I kind of thought about, just a whim, and this is close to home, people. Khalil Mack. I wonder if he gets rejuvenated with the Chargers. I wonder if he does.
I mean, yes, he'll have a good season, but I think once again,
he's won it before, hasn't he?
I'm
not sure if he has or not.
Yeah, he did. He won it once with the Raiders, and I believe he might have won it with the Bears. I can't remember, but he was an All-Pro with the Bears too. I think he'll be an All-Pro, but I think behind the pedigree of Joey, opposite of him, Joey Bosa down there, I think it's going to be tough sledding. They're going to be kind of splitting. If you noticed, after Khalil kind of got hurt last year, that's when Robert Quinn had a monster season. He had like 18.5 sacks.
Yeah, he was
the Bears record
second,
now.
I think he was second in the league.
Yeah, second last year. And that was when Mack was kind of, in and out of the games. Mm-hmm. So I think he'll have a damn good season, but I don't think he'll put up the stats enough to be, a clear-cut defensive player of the year.
Because it's really
something happens.
Because it's really like who do linebackers, DBs, I don't know if they really even have the shot to be, especially a DB, being defensive. Yeah, it has to be. I think you have a lot of picks.
Urlacher's won it before. Yeah. I mean, you got to be a Luke Kuechly level linebacker. When Levante David puts up 200 tackles in a season, something like that. You have to have. It's kind of like if a wide receiver was to clear cut and have even a slight chance at the MVP, which. Cooper Kupp was only considered after having one of the best seasons of his career, or of all wide receivers. So
had it a lot. Just had a little bit of consideration for being, like you say, with the MVP, it's skewed towards the quarterbacks. We all know that,
of course.
But switching again to the offensive side, we're going to get their thoughts on the offensive MVP. I guess I'll start this one since we've gone,
Yeah.
I guess, like back and forth. I was very interested when I was looking it up. This award trends towards quarterbacks and running backs. Like it's not a lot of receivers that are in this award where it's like, oh, this receiver in the last 4 or 5 years have won this award. So I was like, let me see if I could be different and see who are some guys I could potentially look at and be like, this could be an offensive player of the year. And one guy I was looking at was Justin Jefferson.
I think he could take my guy, man. That was mine.
That was mine too.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I was trying to be a little different. Like, I don't want to pick another quarterback that could maybe do it or a running back. I was like, let me see it for a receiver. And I was looking at him. I mean, Jefferson had over the last 2 years, he's had 17 touchdowns and over 3,000 yards. And that is what the quarterback who we think is average. So to me, I think he's going to know that's his number one option. And I think Minnesota, not saying where I think they could be playoff wise, but I don't think they're going to be so bad to where he just cannot be considered at all.
I think they're going to be good this year.
I think they're going to be good.
Ricardo, the new head coach, the former offensive guy from the Rams, man. I feel like his system, man, might cater around Justin Jeff, man. It's going to be more creativity this year, man. So I totally agree, man. You stole my pick. Justin Jeff, man. This guy is just absurd. I got a little attachment to the boy because I had him on my team as a rookie, man. He carried my team for a couple of weeks, man. The dude was absurd as a young talent. Like, the dude's 23 years old. Just think about it. 23 years old, what he's doing. And it's absurd what he's done. And with this system, man, I think the Vikings low-key this year is going to win a lot of games too. So I feel like with the wins,
they finally got away from the defensive aspect. Zimmer being there for years.
Old style.
Old style.
But I think Jefferson, legitimate chance. I think he might. I think I know we've talked about fantasy wide receivers and all, but I think he'll take over Kupp for the number one wideout in PPR leagues this year. But I think the biggest thing for me is, and Sean, I think you might have brought this up again, stock up, stock down wide receivers, but Thielen's only getting older. So his opportunities that he could still be taking away from Jefferson in the red zone, I think that's going to start to dwindle a little bit. They do have Irv Smith Jr., Sean, who I think you've also mentioned a couple times. But I think Jefferson, you're going to see him getting more fade balls, slant routes, just getting way more red zone targets this year.
Yeah. And I guess another guy who I maybe considered, just because I think this quarterback is going to be dependent on him, so he's going to get a lot of targets and a lot of catches. And I know Zoo is down on him, but I think Debo could be a guy that's a dark horse.
Oh, dark horse Debo?
Yeah, because I think he's going to depend on him a lot. And Debo has a lot of usage. So, he runs it, and so if he gets a lot of all-purpose yards and the 49ers are always in the playoffs and are good. So if the team's going to be good, Debo's going to be their number one focal guy. If Ayuk, I don't trust him. Like, I think Ayuk could maybe be a guy that takes a step, but it's like you got Trey involved. We don't know how Trey's going to play. I think Trey's going to be very, him and Kittle and Debo are going to be the guys fighting for touches, I feel like. So
it's going to be Hurts and Goddard.
And they're going to have Debo running out of the backfield. So he's a guy he's the one guy in the league that can get a lot of, multi-purpose yards. So that's a guy that could be a dark horse.
Man.
He's got money. And he's got his money.
They're going to use Trey Lance like a running back, man.
Yeah.
And the red zone. I feel like his ability to run is his best ability. So they're going to try to utilize that, especially in the red zone. So I feel like the touches for
Trey Lance could be your offensive player of the league. Low key.
Shanahan's a genius with quarterbacks. So he can make someone average look a little better than what they are. So
Jimmy
I don't know
what Super Bowl.
Yeah, you got Jimmy G, you have a coach like Kirk Cousins, all these dudes all good under him. He doesn't have bad quarterback production. Regardless of how bad. I swear to God, he can get Mitchell Trubisky and make that brother look decent.
Damn near, dude.
He
plays to their strengths. That's
exactly.
What he does.
He's like a genius head coach. So who knows, man? He plays to his strengths, man. And we'll see if this Lance guy is the real deal. Because if he doesn't produce this year, man, they really, really messed up.
Yeah,
because they're going to cater the offense to him, his skill set. They have the weapons, they have the defense, you have the coaching. If you don't have success, it's over.
They might let Jimmy walk.
Exactly. So I'm like, man, you got to get it done this year. This is your one and only chance.
Yeah, they got to make the playoffs. It can't be because, like you say, as much as we all bag on Jimmy G, he gets to the playoffs and he wins games. So you can't just, take that for granted.
Oh, I remember. He beat my Packers real bad, man. I'm still not over that, man.
No, he didn't beat him. Special teams beat him.
Yeah. We're gonna transition now into the last part of the podcast, which is basically our predictions for how we think the conferences are going to go, and we're going to pick our Super Bowl winners. Like you say, these are, I guess you put these in concrete as our official picks. So I'm gonna start with P. Bush. Who do you have out of the NFC? Who do you have out of the AFC? And who is your Super Bowl winner? And I'm just gonna be just before you start. The NFC was very tough. The NFC was very tough, but go ahead.
It is tough, but I think AFC is even harder just because there's more contention.
Yeah.
I think they're hard in their own ways.
Yeah, there's way more better teams in the
exactly.
AFC.
Whereas, so NFC, I got the Bucs coming out of it. I think they just have too many weapons for a lot of teams in the NFC and specifically in the NFC South to really cover
South
on a consistent basis. I've actually been kind of impressed with what I've seen from the Falcons and a little bit of their preseason games, just the weapons that they have and problems that they could cause. But I just don't see anybody as a clear cut. Rodgers, I'm sorry, Zoo.
It's the biggest.
Packers going to be making the playoffs, but I don't have him even making the NFC.
I don't hate either, man. I give up on him, man.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Cowboys, who everyone's always like, "Oh, Cowboys could make the NFC."
America's team, yeah.
Well, yeah, they could be 13-3, or they could go, or 13-4, or they could go 10-7, and that's a big difference. And then looking over at the AFC, the NFC, what would that be? West, you got the Rams, and I think it comes down to the Rams and the Bucs. I do have the Bucs coming out. I think they're going to get the better. I think that's why Brady came back. He wants to beat them again.
that's definitely why he came.
Brady he took it personally.
He pissed them off, yeah.
And I have them facing the Bills in the Super Bowl with the Bills prevailing for the first time ever. Bills winning the Super Bowl this year. I think I personally have a bet on the Chargers because I think it has the most value on coming out of the AFC. But if I'm looking at an overall team, man, with a division that they can clearly exploit, it's the Bills, man. They're going to have buys left and right coming out of entering into the playoffs. I think Josh Allen's going to have a monster year, Zoo. I know he has been the past couple of years, but I think this is going to be his solidifying year, which is why I have him at MVP. And I think he might get MVP and Super Bowl MVP, Zoo. I think he might clean sweep this year.
Man, the Buccaneers, man, not scared of that offensive line, man. It's a little sus looking, man. And Brady against pressure, man. The man can't move. So if he gets pressure, he's not the GOAT when there's pressure, man. Because when there's pressure, he's pretty garbage, man. When there's pressure on him,
I still think they're going to prevail because that's how bad I think the NFC is. The Rams are the only team.
Yeah, the South is. Even though the Saints are tricky. Saints would be tricky.
Yeah.
Their defense. And the Saints have beaten the Bucs a lot. They just don't beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah, the NFC, man, like I've been looking at the teams, but I had 3 teams in mind, man. And one of them might be random, man. I looked at the Eagles. Yeah, I said the Eagles. Yeah. Oh, I said the Eagles, man. I'll tell you, I love the offensive line. I need my protection for my quarterback. You know, man, I'm a huge Jalen Hurts guy. Those running quarterbacks with the intangibles. He might not be the best pure passer of the football. Yeah, that leadership intangible. A.J. Brown might unleash this brother, man. He gets a true number 1 wideout. They're friends off the court, man. It's a little dig-esque for Josh Allen, man. Get him a nice receiver, unlock his full potential. You need that one go-to guy, man. So that's one of the teams I like. Exactly. And Devontae Smith is a second wide receiver, man. With that offensive line out, but the running game, Jalen Hurts is my RB, man. That's my RB. Miles Sanders, I'm done with that brother. Kenneth Gainwell, little third down passing guy, but I'm done with Miles Sanders. That brother, man, ruined me last year, man. But I had the Eagles as my number 1 contention. But I just can't pick them yet, man. Okay. I love them, man. I have them making the playoffs this year, man, winning their division. I have them actually making pretty far this year. But, man, oh, man, can't believe I'm going to say this, man. Hurts me to say this, the 49ers, man. It hurts me to say this, man. It hurts me to say I don't like this team, man. This team owns Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, man. They just win, man. They just keep on winning with whoever, man. Yeah. And with Jimmy Garoppolo, I think is a below-average quarterback. And historically in the playoffs, they just win games. They make the playoffs every year. You already mentioned Deebo Samuels. I'm down on Deebo Samuels, man, but he's still a hell of a player this year. With George Kittle, with that offensive line, with Trey Lance as QB, man, because like I told you, Shanahan, I think he's a genius. So I think Mr. Lance is going to have a good year. I don't think he's that good, but he's going to have a good, productive year under this offensive scheme, man. And I'm looking at division like Rams going back-to-back. I don't like picking teams going back-to-back to the Super Bowl. It's very, very tough in football. The grind on the body, everything went the year for the Rams. Matthew Stafford has an injury, so I don't like any of that. Obviously, they lost Odell. Allen Robinson coming in. I think that's a wash. So I feel like the Rams didn't get better and Stafford's injured. So I don't have them making it to the Super Bowl, man. And look at the division. Tampa Bay, I'm scared of that offensive line for Tom Brady, man. And the brother's old, man. I don't think he's got that. You got that I want to win another Super Bowl, man, because the dude chilling in the Bahamas, man. He should be throwing football with his boys and doing it in the Bahamas with the family. Family's more important for this guy. He already got it done. So, can't go with Brady this year. And you know me and the Packers, I ain't ever picking them ever again, man. I didn't pick them last year, and I got hope a little because they were beasting on everyone in the regular season. I was like, oh, these boys got me back, and they let me down again. So I'll never pick them ever again, man. So I'm picking their rival, the 49ers, man.
Fair enough. So you got Niners coming out of the NFC.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. That's just one NFC, man. Oh, AFC, man. I got the Bills like you, man. I think they have the easiest division. The easiest division. Like, obviously, the Jets are trash. New England Patriots, they're just definition average.
Yeah,
man.
I don't know what
It's like they're just so
Not
average.
going to be exciting.
Oh, and Belichick. Belichick without Tom Brady, he's getting a little exposed on the offensive end. Man, not as great. The Dolphins, I don't believe in Tua, man. His team is actually pretty damn good. Like, I like Edmonds as a pass-catching running back, man. The receiver's obviously quick as hell, but Tua, this is a make-or-break a year for this dude, too, because if he doesn't have a good year, he's out. Yeah, because, my goodness, man, what a situation.
So they'll be looking elsewhere.
Exactly. They're going to be drafting new, man. Herbert, that boy's going to haunt them for the rest of their lives. Because they had an option to pick this dude, and imagine Herbert with those boys down there in Miami, man. That would be a 10-11 win team guaranteed. But
easy,
man, Tua's got that pressure, man. And I don't think he's gonna get it done, man.
Yeah.
So who do you have winning out of that, Zoo?
Yeah,
Bills, Niners.
that actually is a nice.
It's gonna be. It's tough. It hurts me to say this. The 49ers, man.
Wow.
I hate this team. I hate the Colin Kaepernick team, man. That beat my Packers. I hate all variations of this team, man. They just keep winning, man. They just keep on winning. Because like they were the better team than the Chiefs in that Super Bowl when I was watching the game.
Yeah. Oh, by far.
While I was watching, it was pure domination. I was shocked because I picked the Chiefs, and they obviously got it done at the end of the game. But watching the physicality of their defense, they just look like the better team. Just Mahomes made one extra throw, and Jimmy G couldn't make one throw. It legit was a 2-possession game, and that was it because the team game was that close, man. So I see the 49ers game. Shanahan. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Shanahan, man. This guy just goes to the Super Bowl. He hasn't won it, but getting to the Super Bowl is mad impressive, especially NFL, man. It's hard.
Knocking on the door.
Yeah,
knocking on the door for sure.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm just going to be like, because I was the same way in the NFC. Like when I was looking at teams, I was like, God, there's like so much mediocrity. It's like I don't know which one to pick. That's why I was like, it was tougher for me because it was like I just don't know which one to pick out of it. Like I'm with Zoo on the Eagles. Their offensive line is really, really good. Their defense is really, really solid. Jordan Davis, their first round pick, and then the guy from Georgia, N'Kobe, like he's already making plays. So like, and they got corners. I just feel like they're going to be good. And they're in the NFC East. So it's like, it's not crazy to think that they could make a run. Because like you say, Jalen Hurts is such a great leader, but it's just like, I love Jalen Hurts, but I don't know if he's taken that step yet to where he's going to be going to a Super Bowl. So I couldn't go that far. So then I started looking at other teams. It's like, I'm not taking the Cowboys, like not taking the Saints, even though I love their defense. Like it's Jameis. The Bucks, like you say, the offensive line has been destroyed down there. And at some point, it's like Brady's got to show his age. And if he's getting pressured, like, yeah, that's not going to be a good sight. So I was like, I can't do them. So then it's like, and after that, I was looking at odds. Like, I can't go down lower than that. Like, I got to go scroll back up. Like, it's just impossible. Because it's just not other teams like Minnesota love them, but it's too many teams that are like, I can't go down that far. So I went back up. So then it's like the 49ers and Packers. I'm with Zoo. Like, if Trey Lance is good, they could make it to the Super Bowl. Yep. Like it's not a impossible like scenario because Shanahan knows what to do with quarterbacks, and that's who I had down. But it's like since Zoo picked that, I'll be a contrarian, and I think now since Aaron Rodgers,
I hope you're right, boy. I hope you're right. I never want to be wrong my entire life, man. I want to be wrong
I can see Aaron Rodgers this year. Like you say, we know he has the pedigree. We know that the NFC North, Justin Fields, we'll see. Minnesota is the sleeper in that division. I feel like they could win it. But I think a lot has to, and Detroit, not disrespecting them, but I don't think they're there. But I just think a lot of it psychologically in that division, Aaron just owns a lot of that division. So you know they're probably going to win that division.
Oh, the division.
And I think this year, say if they have a more, I guess you would say a subpar record or whatever, and they have to go on the road. Well, maybe it's in like a more of a favorable place where it's in a dome or something where they don't have good weather, where they're not playing in the snow. And maybe Aaron Rodgers with all this, I guess you could say stuff that he's caused a lot of this chaos. We all can agree on that. But maybe with all this, we'll galvanize it, and this could be the year that he does it. And like you say, part of this because I just want to pick somebody different than Zeus. So I say I think the Packers could have a chance to go to the NFC. Now for my AFC pick, I think it's the Chargers. I'm bullish on the Chargers. I don't care about the division. I think it's Herbert's season. Like I got a lot of faith in Herbert and him this year. And I think a lot of this really has to do with their defense. I think Khalil Mack has a little bit in the tank. Joey Bosa's an all-pro. They just re-signed Derwin James, one of the best safeties. I like they're probably about 3 or 4 corners deep. They have a good middle of the defense. They have a lot of talent on that roster. And I think their first round pick was they might have got another guard to go along on because last year they took a tackle, and I think they got another guard because they didn't shore that up. So they're making improvements on the offensive line. So I think Herbert's going to be fine. It did dawn on me that Josh Allen is primed to also be an MVP, and his division is easier. And I think the Herbert pick, a lot of people are kind of shy not to go that route because of just the division they're in. But I just think this is the year. I just think I wouldn't say he's the best quarterback in that division, but he could potentially be that. And I like him a lot. So Russell.
What do you think about the head coach? What do you think about the head coach, man?
I think he made a mistake. Head coach? I don't think he's the greatest. Like, what's the dude before him? Lynn. What was his name? I can't remember.
Running back guy. The running back.
I can't remember. Yeah, but it was the Lynn guy. Yeah. If you're asking me is it a significant upgrade for him, no, I don't. I don't think it's a significant upgrade. And if there's an NFC and if there's an AFC championship where somehow the Chiefs and the Chargers are playing, I'm scared because Andy Reid circles around him. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully they play a slump or somebody who's like not as good of a coach. And oh God. If they were playing, if the Jets actually got to the AFC Championship game and they were playing the Chargers, I would be nervous because something's going on with the Jets that we don't know about that we didn't see preseason. But I'm just I'm a big believer in Justin Herbert, and that is why I think I got them winning the Super Bowl. I got
winning over I will say, Packers. They need Eckler healthy. If he has any sort of injury,
Isaiah Spiller, man, come on.
I know they got Isaiah Spiller. I know I'm high on him, but I think that him pass catching though, and I know Spiller.
Yeah, he's a beast pass catching.
But look, man, Eckler's pass catching game just creates such a new dynamic to that team, especially with the guys over the top, across the middle with Keenan and Mike, and then you got just Eckler squirting out of the backfield every time, just getting 15 yards on every catch. So
plus two, I want. And there's nothing against defenses, but I want really elite quarterbacks on both sides in the Super Bowl. Like I feel like we've needed. I wouldn't be mad at a Rodgers, Mahomes, or Mahomes versus whoever else in the NFC. Like
let's just say Brady. Don't you remember that?
Yeah, but that was a freaking blitz. That was a blitz, bro. God almighty, that was awful. And I think that was the Super Bowl. Both of the tackles were hurt, I think, for the Chiefs. Yeah. No freaking. And that goes to show you offensive line matters.
That's true.
It was running for his life, man. That was the worst game of Super Bowl I've ever seen.
But
I think it's just not what ends up winning, but it'd be cool to see.
It's just usually the Super Bowl is sometimes who we always predict. But I think a lot of that once Brady ends up retiring is going to be, I feel like, way more like unpredictable. So like I said, we have a lot of good quarterbacks in the AFC side. The NFC kind of has to pick up their slack, but like I said, there's so many scenarios that could come from this. Like you say, I'm excited for the season to begin. One other guy that I just thought about that could maybe be a dark horse, like for Offensive Player of the Year, Dak Prescott. I just thought of him. I feel like he's just a stat monster. And if the defense is really good and the Cowboys get off to like a good start, it's America's team. They're gonna get the votes. You can never count Dak out. If they're good, then he's gonna get a lot of votes.
I'm counting him out, man. His team is loaded, man. He needs to win a playoff game, man. I need to win a playoff game.
So if the Cowboys go like 11-5, you don't think he would, or 12-4, whatever. You don't think he has a chance to win offensive? Because
I think if they win that many games, it'll be because of their running game with Ezekiel Elliott and dominating time of possession when they were the most successful. Every time Dak has had, or the Cowboys had a good season,
that is
just
true.
Straight running the football. And you know me, defense. Man. Zeke is back, baby. Oh, Zeke is back, baby.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd say like
he just snuck into
has
my
a better chance at OPOY than Dak Prescott does.
That team's gonna be. Oof. That's
because
the thing
if the Cowboys are that good and Dak is playing that well, he'll have more consideration for MVP than he would Offensive Player of the Year. I think, at least.
I just don't think. The only reason why I say offensive because I just feel like he doesn't. You're right. If they're that good, they probably just will jump the line for him to be MVP. But I just feel like his stats will reflect somebody that's like maybe more of an offensive guy, or whatever. But we're gonna have plenty of time to talk about it because the season is here, man. Like we're definitely basically 2 weeks away. College football starting this weekend and next weekend. Then we're followed up by NFL. So I'm just so excited to see what happens. Make sure you guys follow us on bullheaded_pod, Instagram. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, bullheaded864, Quantro Knows for the YouTube. We're gonna be putting up a lot of content that is gonna be football friendly. Like you said, the NBA, they're definitely going to sprinkle in their few storylines every once in a while. But it's NFL season. So that is the content we will be pushing out. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we're out.